In a serene valley, a monstrous frog emerges from cursed waters, threatening a loyal German shepherd and a fragile foal. As panic grips the farm, brave police officers rally to confront the beast. Will their courage and teamwork save the innocent animals from this towering terror? Join us for an epic tale of heroism and heart. In the heart of a lush emerald valley, nestled between rolling hills and whispering forests, there lay a quaint farm where life moved to the gentle rhythm of nature's symphony. The sun rose each morning like a golden crown, casting its warm glow over fields of swaying grass and wildflowers that danced in the breeze. This was no ordinary place. It was a haven for creatures great and small, where harmony reigned supreme. At the center of this idyllic world were two unlikely friends. Max, a loyal German shepherd with fur as black as midnight and eyes that sparkled with unwavering courage, and Luna, a young foal whose coat shimmered like polished chestnut under the light. Max had been the farm's guardian for years, patrolling the fences with a vigilant stride, his bark a reassuring echo that warded off any stray predators. Luna, barely a few months old, was the picture of innocence, her long legs wobbling as she frolicked in the pastures, nuzzling against her mother's side for comfort. The farm belonged to old farmer Elias, a kind soul with weathered hands and a heart full of stories from decades spent tending the land. He treated his animals like family, sharing tales around the evening fire about legendary beasts and heroic deeds from folklore. Max and Luna shared a special bond. Forged in playful chases across the meadows, Max would herd Luna away from the river's edge, his protective instincts kicking in like a natural shield, while Luna's playful neighs brought joy to the dog's serious demeanor. Together, they embodied the pure essence of friendship, untouched by the world's cruelties. But beneath this serene surface, whispers of ancient myths stirred in the shadows of the nearby enchanted woods. Tales of creatures from forgotten realms that could awaken with the turn of seasons. As days blended into one another, the valley's peace seemed eternal. Birds sang melodies from the treetops, bees hummed busily among the blooms, and the distant mountains stood as silent sentinels. Yet, on one fateful afternoon, as the sun dipped toward the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, an unnatural rumble echoed from the depths of the forest. The ground trembled slightly, sending ripples through the pond where ducks paddled lazily. Max's ears perked up, his hackles rising in instinctive alarm, while Luna froze mid-gallop, her wide eyes scanning the tree line. Farmer Elias paused in his chores, wiping sweat from his brow, sensing that something extraordinary and perhaps perilous was about to shatter their tranquil existence. Little did they know, deep within the misty groves, a colossal force was stirring. Legends spoke of a giant frog, a behemoth born from magical waters tainted by an ancient curse, capable of leaping across rivers and ensnaring the unwary with its sticky tongue. This creature, dormant for centuries, had been roused by a freak storm that flooded the hidden lagoons. Its skin gleamed like wet emeralds, eyes bulging with malevolent hunger, and its croak could shake the very foundations of the earth. As the shadows lengthened, the giant frog set its sights on the farm, drawn by the scent of innocence that Max and Luna radiated. The stage was set for an adventure that would test bonds, summon heroes, and redefine bravery in the face of the fantastical. The community around the farm was a tight-knit group of villagers who relied on one another, sharing harvests and stories under starlit skies. They had heard rumors of strange happenings, missing livestock, unexplained tremors, but dismissed them as tall tales. Now, as the first signs of disturbance rippled through, panic began to brew. Max barked warnings into the wind, his loyalty fierce, while Luna whinnied softly, seeking reassurance. Farmer Elias gathered his wits, knowing that help would soon be needed from beyond the farm's borders. In this moment of calm before the storm, the true heroes of our story, the valiant police force from the nearby town, were yet to enter the fray, but their legend was about to begin. As twilight draped its violet cloak over the valley, the air grew thick with an eerie stillness. The usual chorus of crickets fell silent, replaced by a low, guttural croak that reverberated through the trees. Farmer Elias stood frozen on his porch, his pipe slipping from his fingers as the ground shook again, this time with purpose. In the distance, the tree line parted like a curtain, revealing a monstrous silhouette that defied belief. The giant frog emerged, its body the size of a barn, its glistening green skin catching the fading light like a cursed jewel. Its eyes, each as large as a wagon wheel, glowed with an unnatural hunger, fixing on the farm where Max and Luna stood unaware. The beast's tongue flicked out, long and sinewy, uprooting a sapling with a single swipe. Villagers who caught sight of the creature from their windows gasped, their whispers turning to shouts of alarm. Max sensed the danger first. His ears flattened, and a low growl rumbled in his throat as he positioned himself between Luna and the forest. The foal, trembling, pressed close to her mother, her wide eyes reflecting the growing dread. The frog took a single leap, covering half the distance to the farm in one bound, its webbed feet cratering the earth. Mud and water sprayed, drenching the fields, and its croak sent a flock of birds scattering into the sky. Farmer Elias ran to the barn, shouting for his neighbors to raise the alarm. The village bell tolled frantically, its clang echoing across the valley, summoning anyone brave enough to face the unknown. Word spread like wildfire. Old Mrs. Harrow, who ran the village bakery, claimed she'd seen the frog in a dream, a beast born from a cursed spring deep in the enchanted woods. Young Tommy, the blacksmith's apprentice, swore he'd seen its tracks near the river, prints as wide as barrels. Panic gripped the community as they gathered in the town square, clutching pitchforks and lanterns. The frog's presence was no longer a myth. It was a living nightmare. Its latest leap brought it to the edge of the farm, where it crouched in the reeds by the pond, its tongue lashing out to snatch a stray goose. Max barked furiously, darting forward to protect Luna, but the frog's gaze locked onto them. Sensing their vulnerability, the villagers knew they were outmatched. This was no ordinary beast. It moved with a cunning that suggested more than instinct. Its size alone could crush fences and barns, and its sticky tongue could ensnare anything in its path. Max, ever loyal, refused to back down, his barks a defiant challenge. But Luna's frightened whinnies betrayed her fear. Farmer Elias, heart pounding, sent his fastest runner to the nearby town of Willowbrook, where a small but dedicated police force was known for handling crises beyond the ordinary. The villagers huddled together, praying for help, as the frog's croaks grew louder, each one a promise of chaos. As night fell, the frog made its move. With a thunderous leap, it landed in the farm's pasture, its tongue lashing out and wrapping around a fence post, splintering it like kindling. Max lunged, snapping at the air, but the frog's attention turned to Luna, who bolted toward the barn in a panic. The foal's cries pierced the night, and Max followed, his loyalty unwavering. The villagers watched in horror, knowing the animals were now in the beast's grasp, trapped in the barn as the frog loomed closer. Hope rested on the distant sound of hoofbeats, messengers racing to summon the heroes who could turn the tide against this monstrous the police station buzzed with urgency as the messenger burst through the door, breathless and wide-eyed. Chief Clara Thornton, a seasoned officer with a steely gaze and a reputation for fearlessness, listened intently as the boys stammered about the giant frog. Her team, Officers Miguel Alvarez, a tactical expert with a knack for strategy, Sarah Kim, a sharpshooter with nerves of steel, and rookie Leo Carter, eager to prove himself, gathered around the table. Clara's presence commanded respect. She'd faced everything from wildfires to runaway stallions, but this was a challenge unlike any other. The officers exchanged glances, their disbelief tempered by duty. The farm's animals, especially Max and Luna, were more than livestock. They were part of the valley's heart. Clara unfolded a map of the valley, her finger tracing the path to Farmer Elias's land. "We move at dawn," she declared, her voice steady but urgent. Miguel suggested using nets and tranquilizers, recalling old tales of capturing oversized beasts. Sarah checked her gear, ensuring her rifle was ready, though she wondered if bullets could pierce the frog's hide. Leo, though nervous, volunteered to scout ahead, his enthusiasm infectious. The team spent the night preparing, loading their truck with ropes, reinforced nets, and a makeshift cage, strong enough for a creature of legend. Clara rallied them with a speech about protecting the innocent, her words igniting a fire in their hearts. The townsfolk of Willowbrook, hearing the news, offered what they could: lanterns, tools, even a few horses for the journey. The police weren't just enforcers, they were the valley's guardians, bound by a code to protect all life, human and animal alike. As they suited up, Clara thought of Max's loyalty and Luna's fragility, images that fueled her resolve. The team knew the risks. Facing a creature of myth could end in disaster, but retreat wasn't an option. With the first light of dawn, they set out, their truck rumbling toward the farm, determination etched on their faces. The valley held its breath, waiting for its heroes to answer the call. The police truck rolled through the misty dawn, its tires crunching over gravel as the team approached the valley. Clara drove, her eyes scanning the horizon, where the enchanted woods loomed like a dark promise. Miguel studied the map, plotting a route to avoid the swampy lowlands where the frog might lurk. Sarah cleaned her rifle, her hands steady despite the knot in her stomach, while Leo peered out the window, his heart racing at the thought of the beast ahead. The air grew heavier the closer they got, the forest's silence unnatural, as if the world itself was holding its breath. A faint croak rumbled in the distance, confirming the frog's presence and sending a chill down their spines. The road narrowed, forcing them to abandon the truck and continue on foot. They slung their gear over their shoulders, nets, ropes, and tranquilizer darts, moving cautiously through the underbrush. Brambles snagged at their uniforms, and the ground grew soggy, sucking at their boots. Miguel spotted massive footprints, each one a muddy crater, proof of the frog's size. "It's bigger than we thought," he muttered, adjusting the net's weight. Sarah noticed broken branches high in the trees, suggesting the frog could leap to terrifying heights. Leo, clutching a radio, reported their progress to base, his voice steady despite his nerves. Clara led the way, her flashlight cutting through the fog. Her instincts honed from years of facing danger. As they neared the farm, they found signs of chaos: splintered fences, trampled crops, and a trail of slime leading to the barn. The frog's croaks were deafening now, each one shaking leaves from the trees. Clara signaled for silence, crouching behind a boulder to observe. The barn stood in the distance, its doors ajar, and inside they heard Max's defiant barks and Luna's panicked whinnies. The frog crouched nearby, its bulk casting a shadow over the pasture, its tongue flicking lazily as if toying with its prey. The team exchanged nods, their plan taking shape: distract the frog, secure the animals, and subdue the beast before it could strike. The final approach was treacherous. A fallen log blocked their path, forcing them to wade through a shallow stream. The cold water soaked their boots, but they pressed on, driven by the animals' cries. Miguel whispered a strategy: use flares to lure the frog away, then rush the barn. Sarah checked her tranquilizer darts, knowing they'd need precision. Leo, gripping a rope, felt the weight of his first real mission. Clara's eyes never left the frog, her mind racing with contingencies. As they reached the farm's edge, the beast turned, its glowing eyes locking onto them. The heroes steeled themselves, ready for the battle that would define their legacy. The air crackled with tension as the police team fanned out, their silhouettes small against the towering frog. Its skin glistened under the morning sun, each wart pulsing with an eerie glow, and its croak rattled their bones. Clara raised her hand, signaling the start of their plan. Miguel lit a flare, its red glow hissing to life, and tossed it into the clearing. The frog's head snapped toward the light, its tongue lashing out, missing the flare by inches. Sarah took aim with her tranquilizer rifle, her breath steady, as she targeted the beast's flank. Leo, ropes in hand, darted toward the barn, his heart pounding but his focus sharp. Max's barks grew louder, a beacon of defiance, while Luna's cries spurred the team onward. The frog lunged, its massive body shaking the earth as it landed closer to the flare. Clara shouted, "Now!" and Miguel hurled another, drawing the creature further from the barn. Sarah fired, the dart striking the frog's thigh, but it barely flinched, its hide thicker than expected. The beast turned, its eyes narrowing on Sarah, and with a flick of its tongue it knocked her rifle from her hands. She dove behind a hay bale, heart racing, as Clara rushed to her side, tossing her a spare dart gun. "We need more hits!" Clara yelled, her voice cutting through the chaos. The frog's tongue swept again, splintering a nearby fence, but the officers held their ground. Miguel, quick on his feet, climbed onto a tractor, waving another flare to keep the frog distracted. Its attention shifted, giving Leo a chance to slip into the barn. Inside, he found Max standing protectively over Luna, who cowered in a corner, her legs trembling. "Good boy," Leo whispered, looping a rope around Max's collar. The dog growled but followed, sensing help had arrived. Luna, skittish, took coaxing, but Leo's gentle voice calmed her enough to lead her toward the door. Outside, the battle raged on. The frog, enraged by the darts, leaped toward Miguel, who dove off the tractor just as the beast's foot crushed it into scrap. Clara and Sarah regrouped, firing a volley of tranquilizers. One dart hit the frog's neck, another its shoulder, slowing its movement slightly. But the creature was relentless, its tongue whipping out and catching Clara's leg, dragging her toward its gaping maw. Miguel reacted fast, throwing a net that tangled the tongue, giving Clara time to break free. She scrambled to her feet, shouting orders to tighten the formation. The team worked in sync, their training kicking in despite the surreal foe. Sarah climbed onto a shed, gaining a better angle, and landed a dart near the frog's eye, causing it to recoil with a thunderous croak. Leo emerged from the barn, Max and Luna in tow, but the frog spotted them. It lunged, its shadow swallowing the trio. Max barked fiercely, standing his ground while Luna bolted, nearly pulling Leo off his feet. Clara saw the danger and made a split-second decision. She grabbed a rope, tied it to a tree, and swung it toward the frog's leg, looping it tight. Miguel joined her, pulling with all his strength, while Sarah fired another dart. The frog staggered, its movements sluggish as the tranquilizers finally took effect. With one final heave, the team yanked the rope, toppling the beast into the mud, where it thrashed weakly, its eyes dimming. The officers panted, sweat-soaked but unbroken, as the frog's movement slowed to a stop. Max nuzzled Luna, who whinnied softly, safe at last. Clara checked her team, relief washing over her as she saw no serious injuries. The barn stood intact, the farm saved, and the valley's heart preserved. The frog, now a sleeping giant, was no longer a threat, its legend tamed by human courage and teamwork. With the frog subdued, the team rushed to secure Max and Luna. Leo led the animals to safety, guiding them to a nearby pasture where Farmer Elias waited, tears in his eyes. Max wagged his tail, licking Leo's hand, while Luna nuzzled her mother, her fear fading. Clara and Miguel tied the frog's legs with reinforced ropes, ensuring it couldn't stir. Sarah radioed for backup, calling in a team to transport the creature to a secure facility for study. The villagers, who'd watched from a distance, erupted in cheers, their lanterns bobbing like fireflies in the dawn. Farmer Elias hugged each officer, his gratitude boundless. "You've saved my family," he said, patting Max and Luna. The team smiled, exhausted but proud, their bond forged in battle. The farm, though battered, stood strong, a testament to their victory. As the sun rose higher, casting golden rays over the valley, the officers shared a quiet moment, knowing they'd faced the impossible and won. The animals were safe, the threat neutralized, and the legend of the giant frog would now include the heroes who tamed it. The valley buzzed with tales of the police's bravery, their story growing into legend. Max and Luna resumed their playful days, their bond stronger than ever. The villagers rebuilt, their faith in heroism restored. Clara's team returned to Willowbrook as heroes, their unity a beacon for others. The giant frog, studied by scientists, became a symbol of nature's mysteries. This adventure taught the valley that courage and teamwork could conquer any threat. As peace returned, whispers of new challenges lingered, hinting at more stories to come. For now the farm thrived, guarded by love and bravery.